Hey, what's up, everybody? How are we doing today in this day, whatever, quarantine? This is Deplorable, and this is a show for all the Trump supporters and everybody else who wants to tune in. You're more than welcome. Today, I'm going to do a book review on a new, well, I guess it's recent, not new, but recent book, Don Jr. Triggered. How the left thrives on hate and wants to silence us. Oh boy, it was a good read. I got it from the local library. Thank God they carry that in the library. Look for the Hillary Clinton book, but it was already there. There wasn't a wait for it. But anyway, it was a great book. I really enjoyed it. The main points of the book was how the left is really trying to silence us. How they kind of twist things around, something that you'll say, and it's more of kind of like a social club, where you know you can't speak on certain things. So I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the humor in the book. Oh yeah, before I forget, some resources. Man, I have one resource for the community in the Hampton. I think it's Hampton Roads community, and I'll go over that today too as well. But the Don Jr. book. Now, Don Jr. There's a lot of misconceptions about him. When this book came out, I don't know if you guys remember when he came on The View, and they were just hammering him away because supposedly he called out the whistleblower. Okay, but the whistleblower had been called out in another news station. But of course, everybody else can say something, but as soon as somebody in the Trump family says something, it's bad. For example, Joe Biden. If you look at on the YouTube there, type in Joe Biden wanted a fence. To keep the immigrants out. Well, Donald Trump wanted the same thing, and boy, he's a racist. Obama was talking about immigration and talking about how bad it might get. When Donald Trump does it, he's a racist. So whatever Donald Trump says or Don Jr. says, or anybody in family, anybody the Republican says is a racist. I got a problem with that because we can't really speak our mind. We can't really have any freedom of thought. Once you kind of kind of restrict what things that people say. You restrict free thought, really. I know there's hate speech out there. That's horrible. We don't like Nazis. We don't like racism. But there's a left, and they're really kind of like hateful. Now when Trump first came into office, let me go back to Don Jr. on The View because that was just classic, man. So we all know The View, and if you're a Trump supporter, I just hate the media, and I hate the damn celebrities and what they got to say about it. So they had all the people. They had Don Jr. on it. Of course, he couldn't talk about his fucking book at all because they're all clucking away. All those women on The View, and so they come up there and they start on Don Jr. about that whole whistleblower thing, and he was like, "Look, somebody else gave out the name of the whistleblower. They're just that's just wrong, And Whoopi's sitting on the corner there, and then the other lady, Joy Behar, God, I can't stand her, but he turns to everybody, and he told he told Joy Behar, he said, "Look, you talk about my dad, but look, Joy Behar, you did blackface. And then I think like Whoopi said something about like raping a child. But it was something to do with like raping a child. And then something on somebody else. So he basically called them all out. That's what we Trump supporters need to start doing. We need to start calling all these liberals out on their bullshit. On their virtue signaling. Oh, you're wrong. You're bad. So you bring it right back up to them. You bring up some of the shit that they've done in their party. You know, Uh, but anyway, going back to that book, Triggered. Yeah, the first chapter just kind of talks about. I don't want to give out any spoilers because I want everybody to get out and read this. You know, but it basically talks about how the left. How the left is. The hypocrisy with the left. And how the left is being a lot hateful towards Trump supporters. You see pictures of like people grabbing people's hats, people being spit on. Another famous, uh, famous like you know figure in conservatives right now is Candace Owens. I think she was, and her and Charlie Kirk. They were going out somewhere to eat at a restaurant. As soon as they came out there, you know, all the liberals were out there. They were like, yelling at him, fussing at him, whatever. And it's just getting a little ridiculous. I had a personally my own thing where I came outside of a library one time and somebody was talking politics, and I can't remember what it was about. It was a long time ago. And I said, yeah, Trump's trying to fix that. And boy, I tell you, the guy turned to me, called me a racist, called me a Nazi, all different kind of, doesn't even know me. I'm just coming out of the fucking library. So I think it's just the left is just losing their minds, and just it's just kind of crazy. Like, so there's a lot of misconceptions. It talks about like how and I'm just going to talk about maybe just a few things in the book, just a little bit, to kind of get maybe your interest in it. But it talks about how like Don Jr. actually visited his grandfather in Czechoslovakia, which is a socialist country, and that's the reason why him and his father always talk about the fears of socialism. And yeah, it's how the left, it's just like somebody saying, well, yeah, you can't talk about racism because you're white. Well, shit, man, I got a brain. And I think that's a little bit racist to say, because that's like saying I've never experienced anything or can't speak on something. I think that's bullshit. So really, like, if you're like a white male, you just can't speak on anything. You never go through anything. You're trying to pay your bills. And keep lights on in your home and stuff like that. And you never go through anything. Guess what, man? Everybody's kind of going through the same thing. Everybody's trying to pay their bills. Everybody's trying to live. There might be some people that might go through different things or whatever, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And so there were a ton of things in the book, like about like it talks about all like the liberals are obsessed with race, and how they kind of like they don't pay attention to like kind of like policy. Sometimes they just kind of pretend, they just kind of like pay attention to, not pretend, but they pay attention to like things like like racism. And that's how the Democrats and the media try to push that shit all the time. They always push it right around election time, where they're trying to push that stuff. And it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. And I feel like the left is like really like some of them, not all of them. There's some good Democrats out there, and then there's some of the what I call the outer space Democrats, where they're just so calling everybody a Nazi. They're calling black people Nazis, black Trump supporters Nazis. So now it's like what do you do after that? It's just like basically you just can't say anything. And I think what it is the reason why they do that, because when you do say something, you're going to win the argument. So they just try to shut it down right away. You know, like for instance, like if they say like, well, Trump is racist. Well, give me an example. Give me a clear example. You know, well, he did this. Well, that that's not true. That's not what he meant. Oh, he's still racist. And then just they get pissed off, and they walk away. But like, yeah, it's just stuff like, back then, man, the Democratic Party was like, the hippies and stuff like that, and they had a peaceful thing. Now it's like Antifa. They wear the stupid masks, you know, and they go out there and they throw feces on people, and they hit someone with a bike lock in the back of the head, and cause a reporter to have brain damage, things like that. There's a lot of, and they lump us all together. But if I were to lump somebody all together, if I were to say, well, all black people are like this, or all Chinese people are like this, I would be a racist. I would be a bigot. But for me to lump everyone in a big vat and say everybody's like this. Now there are some Trump supporters that are on that dumb stuff where they they're taking Trump stuff and making it kind of their own racist thing. Then that's not right. But for the rest of us, that want to see everybody succeed and want to see because they love America, you got to think about it. Trump, he left his businesses and stuff because he loved America. He didn't have to do all this. He didn't have to put up with all this. I mean, can you imagine, like, okay, I'm getting ready to run, and how many people hate me, and how much opposition is against me, but I'm still putting up. I'm still going through this. So yeah, so that's the thing. And I want to give a shout out too to Scott Pressler. I don't know. He might see this video. I don't know. He may. I don't know. But he's been doing a lot. Like when Trump said about the about Philadelphia and about how like rat infested it was. It is. It's a crappy city. Of course, they want to make that into like a race thing because there's like majority of black people like live there. But I mean, it's something has to be. Somebody has to say something. I mean, it's a very bad area. A lot of the homes are condemned, and guess who it's run by? Democrats. That's who runs by it. And they have all the policies, and they do the same fucking policies over and over again, and nothing gets done. So, so he says something about that. They start calling him racist. No, you can't talk about my town like that. What he was pointing out was, just the condition of the people are living in, and a lot of the public housing. I mean, my God, the condition that people are living in. It's horrible, man. I don't want to see anybody living like that. I know it might be tough words, but yeah, we got to get tough. We got to keep our politicians more accountable. But anyway, it talks about, of course, it's going to talk about that Jussie Smollett thing, where Jussie Smollett basically faked a hate crime, and he put a noose around his neck, and he went to Subway at 2 a.m. like they're going to be Trump supporters in Chicago at 2 a.m. But I just think it's just really ridiculous. So I really like the book. I thought it was a good read, and it points out just all the things that basically all the things that that the left's trying to push. Like just like socialism and just stuff like that. And yeah. So I mean, a lot of these things, man, are just so off the wall, sort of like, okay, when Trump won the Muslim ban, but guess what? When he won the Muslim ban, Obama had already set that policy in place. He was already, so they called him, they were out there picketing and calling him a racist because he had the Muslim ban. But when Obama had it, I didn't hear shit. I didn't hear anything about racism or anything like that. And to be honest with you, I really think Obama try to divide the country too as well around the last part of his his reign and yeah, I mean, I'll agree with him during the time of the riots and things like that. I'll agree with Obama saying, hey, look, these people are just here to riot and things like that, and that's what they were doing. They were that's the thing. That's the other thing that I don't get. I don't get, like, if you're going to riot against injustice and all that stuff, and then burn your neighborhood to the ground. That's stupid. That's just ridiculous, man. So yeah, yeah, man. This is a good read. I would suggest, if you are a Democrat, I would suggest, and just have an open mind, and like just have an open mind, man. And just reading it for yourself and seeing what Trump is trying to do for the country. Because a lot of it you're gonna have to find out. They're not gonna really publicized the First Step Act, which, you know, which was a big, huge criminal justice uh, policy where, you know, they were trying to help people who got like way harsher sentences for things and they were released. They're not going to talk about that. They're not going to talk about the opportunity zones and some of the some of the hot spots which may kind of might be pushed back. I don't know because of the virus. So that was the thing. Trump was doing all right, and then this virus thing comes around, and uh, basically, basically, hinders everything. You can't go out, you can't go to work. So yeah, so pick up the book, Triggered by Don Jr. Very good book. Pick it up. Oh yeah, before I forget, resources. There's a very good resource. If you're in the Hampton Roads area, just give them a call. Water's Edge Church, located. There's one in Yorktown. There's one in Newport News. If you need any help with just things, prayer, whatever, just give them a call. That's the only one that I can really think of right now. I know that Newport News Public Schools, I think some people posted some things about student meals. I don't know. I'm not sure if Hampton does it. See, I don't really live over there. I live here in Richmond, so it's hard to. But if I see any other things, I will post them on my videos because it's just such a difficult time. People are out of work and things like that. And I think that today the thing did get passed. I think I saw that today. So yeah. So all right. Thanks for tuning in to Dealplorable. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also check out my wife's page, babe. Hey, babe, what's your wife, babe? What's the subscription, babe? Babe. All right, check out my wife's page. I'm gonna try to put a link on there. I think she left. I didn't see what she left. So thanks a lot. Tune in to Deplorable. All right, hit that subscribe button.